Hello, Dippers, and welcome to Volume 33 of Humpday Hysteria. As always, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Saucy Pod. Listen to us on iTunes and Spotify. And with me, as always, is my host, senior correspondent, the laid up Fletcher Hoyk. Fletcher, how you doing?
Layton, at what point are we going to consider the Oklahoma City Thunder Paul George's team and no longer Russell Westbrook's team?
Well, we probably should be doing that, but
We probably should.
Whenever Paul George gets it on the All-NBA team and Westbrook doesn't.
We'll see about that. That shouldn't happen this year, as far as Westbrook making the All-NBA team, but we'll see.
I mean, he's out of triple-double still.
Oh, wow, look at him go.
Hey, what, two and a half years ago, we were all with Blues over that. That was a humongous deal.
Don't include me in the whole we all thing.
Oh, yeah.
I've been seeing through Westbrook's facade for a minute now. You all are just finally catching up.
So, speaking of catching up, Fletcher sustained a bit of an injury this past week, so it's going to be a kind of a shorter show. He's tired and he's hurting. Fletcher, do you care how different what happened this weekend?
I slipped and fell. I was experienced a little bit of snow, and I have a couple steps that come into my front yard, and took a tumble for the worse. Got surgery on Tuesday, and I told late before the show started I'm going to do a documentary series about my road to recovery. Me and DeMarcus Cousins
and
premiere together. And
that we brought to you by Shots on the Side. We have contacted Cousins' agent. Not heard back from him yet, but we're really hoping that this goes through.
He better respond to our many emails.
Yep. So, Fletcher, we have absolutely loaded show, but before that, let's drop the noise.
Humpday Hoops Hysteria,
a Sauce on the Side production.
Like I said, today's show is absolutely loaded. A star goes down in Indianapolis. Memphis looking to turn a new page. It's time to boogie in San Francisco. Kyrie's having an identity crisis. And as always, Fletcher on the fly. So we'll start with a headline that's very dear to Fletcher's heart. Last night, Victor Oladipo injured his knee against the Raptors after colliding with Raptors forward Pascal Siakam. The Pacers would go on to win the game, however, now shortly after the injury, the Oladipo season was over, and it came out today that he ruptured his quad muscle on his right leg. In my opinion, this all but ends the Pacers season from a competitive standpoint, but Fletcher, as a Pacers fan, there's no bright side to this. But are you holding out any sliver of hope?
No, not really. We our best player, our all-star guard, goes down for the rest of the year. He ruptures his quad, like you said. That's really an injury that many basketball players don't sustain. It's really kind of a rare one. I know Charles Barkley had that later on in his career, and it really, was detrimental to his career. But the Pacers, they don't need to try to go into the tank or anything like that. They need to stay strong. They have some young guys on that roster who are talented. They need to continue to try to win and prove that they have more than a team than just Oladipo. They're going to have a lot of cap space, and they're going to want to go big fish hunting. And this does hurt their chances for landing that superstar. Like, they were never that high to begin with, But Oladipo going down definitely hurts. But if they can show that they have a team more than just Oladipo outside of Oladipo, I think that would convince stars to want to come there. And I think it's good for the better players to come up, having some kind of success versus just mailing it in.
Is there any player that you think that should get more playing time now that you think can really develop and be a big part of the team next season?
Well, I mean, they're gonna slide. I would imagine they will slide Tyreke Evans into the two-guard spot. They did it previously when Oladipo went down, but excuse me. I hope Sabonis starts to get more minutes. He's obviously talented by any stretch or by any standards. I hope he gets more time out there at the 4 or the 5. So we'll just kind of see how they're going to mix and match their lineups now. They have a couple guards they could throw out there. They're going to start Tyreke Evans, I'm sure. So they have a deep team. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So I always wanted this as a sports fan. The only real passion team I care about is the Boston Red Sox baseball team, and tanking isn't a thing in baseball really.
No.
So as a Pacers fan, in the NBA, where tanking is just a known fact that teams do it, would you rather see this Pacers team try to compete, try to get a playoff seed, or just tank, trade away some players, acquire more picks, and get a higher pick in the draft this upcoming year?
Well, I feel like we have enough pieces around there that if we can get Oladipo back healthy next year, I think we can really build upon a foundation that's already been laid. I don't think you need a tank in a situation like this because you have Turner, you have Sabonis, you have Aaron Holiday, who you just recently drafted in the first round. You have Corey Joseph, who's coming up and going to be the presumed starter next year. I think they have a good core there. I think they have a good young nucleus there, especially if Oladipo can come back. So I don't think tanking or intentionally losing is kind of what they're expecting to do right now, especially if they want to try to sign, some kind of talent in free agency.
All right, and now we're going to go to a team that does want to tank, the Memphis Grizzlies. Not to say they want to tank, but they have announced this past week that they are moving on from the cornerstones of the franchise for more than a decade. They are now listening to offers on point guard Mike Conley and center Marc Gasol. The problem with trading these two players is that both contracts are really, really expensive. Marc Gasol had a $25 million option for next season. He's 34 years old, adding 14 points and 9 rebounds a game. And Mike Conley is 31 years old, he's going to make $32 million next year, has a $34 million option the following year, but he is having arguably the best season of his career. Both of these players are very strong and small on both ends of the court. What do you think they're worth in a trade?
I'm sure that the Grizzlies are wanting, first round kind of picks in return for them, but realistically, you have to temper expectations when you're paying, well over $50 million for two different guys here, and one of them's getting 14 and 9, so he's not even getting you a double yet. When they had that lottery pick in the summer, I couldn't really figure out why they wouldn't deal Gasol and Conley during the draft. You have a high pick, you take Jaren Jackson, who's a front court player. Instead of coming into the season and testing the waters and see what they look like, go ahead and sell them high before their value kind of depreciates. I think you could have got a fair price for Marc Gasol before he came out here and started averaging 14 and 9. Conley, I'm sure you could still get something for, but the thing is, people are really hesitant because you're going to be paying, over $30 million each year.
Yeah, and if you listen to the show last season, you know that something we talk about a lot of transactions, whether it's a player signing for money, player options, trades, and that's when we hit on a lot last year and going into the draft of why didn't the Grizzlies trade players away, and now it looks like we're right once again, and the GM for Grizzlies is incorrect in decision making.
Yeah, you have to commit to one direction or the other. You can't sit there and say, we'll take Jaren Jackson, hope he blossoms into a good player, while at the same time thinking, yeah, Mike Conley and Marc Gasol, they'll keep it going. Like, that's just, you got guys on two different timelines, on two different trajectories. You have to commit to one thing or the other. So I didn't agree with that move over the summer, or the lack of making a move over the summer.
So, it's safe to say that Mike Conley is going to be the easier one to trade because he is younger and is playing better. So, earlier I went on the NBA trade machine and I found a nice trade for Mike Conley. I'll see what you think about it. So, Memphis Grizzlies trade Mike Conley to the Bucks in return for George Hill, Dante DiVincenzo, and draft picks. Grant Hill cannot be traded until February 6th, but fortunately...
You mean George Hill?
Yeah, sorry. George Hill can be traded to February 6th, but fortunately for the Grizzlies, the trade deadline is February 7th.
Yeah.
So, Fletcher, how do you think about my trade?
They have Eric Bledsoe, who's having a really good year this year, so I don't know if they're looking to move a whole lot, especially being, 1-2 spot the whole season. But two teams that I was thinking about, about this trade, and I don't know how the cap situation would work, but, I think Greg Popovich could take two older guys like that and really kind of jumpstart or revitalize their careers, especially for at least half a season. But, a team that I would think that would be willing to make a move is kind of a team that is desperate, not necessarily the most efficiently or cohesively ran team, and a team that's also looking to do anything it can to try to keep a star there. And so those stars align perfectly for the New Orleans Pelicans in my mind. I don't know what they would give up, but having Conley, as a talented point guard, we saw what Rondo was capable, with that team last year. And we also know that, Anthony Davis can coexist next to another true big. So, I don't know how the money would work out. I don't know kind of what assets each team has available, but those are two fits I think that would work. But, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to be a package deal, or do you think that's going to be too hard to make happen?
I think that would be too much money to try to move in one deal like that. I think if you're the Grizzlies, you just get what you can, and that be it.
All right. And now we go on to a player who played in New Orleans last year alongside Anthony Davis, Marcus Cousins. He finally made his Warrior debut on Friday night, and in Boogie fashion, he fouled out in 15 minutes of play. He tore his Achilles last year in New Orleans, so he's been out for, what, has it been over a year?
Let's see. I think he's close to right at a calendar year.
I think it's about right out a year. But aside from fouling out 15 minutes, he scored 22 points, 5 rebounds, had 8 assists in 36 minutes played. So it's really efficient basketball. And the first game he played, he went 3 from 4 from the 3-point line. So Boogie's looking really good coming off injury. Could he make this Warriors team unbeatable and maybe the best team of all time?
I mean, if he keeps his clip up, there's no doubt that he can make them just absolutely unstoppable. I mean, there's just no doubt, and I don't think in anybody's mind if Boogie comes back and did what he did last year, being a 23-13 or 25-13 kind of guy. Obviously, that would just really push them over the top. But early in the NBA season, veteran guys, they always play better because their legs are fresher earlier in the season, and they know the NBA, they know how to execute and play and all that stuff. And I think this early success is some of that with Boogie. He's got to get conditioning down. He's got to get team principles as far as offense and defense concerned down. But I think what you're seeing with Boogie right now is a guy who's really fresh legs, and he's playing well though. You got to give him credit. And if he continues this, the Warriors are just going to steamroll through a lot of teams.
So I'm a big fan of Boogie Cousins. I'm not sure how you feel about Boogie Cousins, but how do you feel like he'll work and with this team and this offense from now, or not now, but later on in April and May?
You guys pay me a lot of money for this opinion I'm about to give, and that's I don't know. He is just one huge question mark. He could work well. He could play well with them. I mean, he can pick and pop with anybody on that team because all other 4 guys can handle the ball. He can post up. He's clearly demonstrated his outside game is efficient still. There's nothing he can't do on the court, but it's just, between the ears, what kind of gets in the way of Boogie, Durant, Draymond Green, and then you have injury concerns with Steph and Clay. So there's still some degree of volatility there, but what you've seen early is really impressive stuff.
Are the Warriors the absolute 100% favorite for the title?
I think as of right now, I think they would have them slightly favored over the Bucks and the Raptors, but that can always change. There's a lot of basketball left to be played.
Just slightly favored over them?
Just slightly, yeah.
Okay.
Again, It's too early for me to. I'm not going to go and make wholesale changes because Boogie's played 36 minutes now this year.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I said multiple times at the season that I think the Bucks and the Raptors the Bucks and the Raptors were better teams, and so 36 minutes of DeMarcus Cousins, I'm going to concede that that the Warriors may be better right now, but I'm not going to go crazy and jump ship or anything.
All right, and now we'll go get some more Fletcher opinions on Fletcher on the Fly. This is a segment where each week I ask Fletcher 3 questions. You don't know what they are, and answer them all on the fly. This week, we're going to do a blind player test. We did one of these about a month ago with Dwight Howard and Patrick Ewing, and Fletcher picked Dwight Howard over Patrick Ewing for their career numbers. So what I did was I got one Hall of Famer, or one guaranteed Hall of Famer, and I got one player active today. They both have comparable stats. Sometimes they have better stats. And Fletcher picked which one he would rather have.
Okay.
So our first comparison is 17 seasons for data.
Wow, that's a lot.
Player 1 has 15.8 points. Oh, and if it's within 2 decimal points, I'm going to round up to the next number. So player 1 has 16 points, 5.7 assists, 3 rebounds, and shot 50%. Player 2 gets 16.3 points, 6.7 assists, 4 rebounds, and 47% shooting. So biggest difference is player 2 gets 1 more assist and rebounds a game, but shoots 3% less over a 17-year career.
Yeah, I think the difference between the assists and rebounds is greater than shooting slightly worse from the field. So I'm going to go ahead and go with player 2 that you mentioned there.
Alright. Player 2 was Gary Payton.
Okay.
Player
Who's
1 is Tony Parker.
Huh.
I bet I didn't realize he was had the kind of numbers. 50% shooting.
No, I didn't. I think I would still take Gary Payton, even knowing that though.
Yeah, he had much better at defense too.
Yeah.
But it's only by like half a steal, honestly.
He's such a bigger guard.
Get the glove, baby.
Yeah.
On the second blind player test. Player 1 gets 24 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, shoots 52% from the field, but gets 2 whole more blocks than player 2. Player 2 also gets 24 points, also gets 10 rebounds, but gets 6 assists, 4 more than player 1, and shoots 50% from the field. And this is over 7 seasons.
Wow.
2 really good players here.
And so player 1 gets more blocks per game, but the other one gets way more assists per game.
4 more assists, 2 more blocks. They both shoot 50% from the field.
Yeah.
Through 7 seasons of the career.
I think just the way the NBA is this day and age, I think I'm going to roll with player 2 there. Guys who can handle the ball better like that, they're going to have a spot in this NBA. So I think I'm going to roll with player 2.
All right, player 2 is...
That's a tough one, though.
Player 2 is Larry Bird.
Okay.
Player 1 is Anthony Davis.
Wow. Well, I guess time will decide between those two.
Right, but Larry Bird only played 13 seasons, so in 6 years, if we're still doing this, we'll bring it back and we'll see who's better.
Yeah.
Now on
That's
to
kind of wild to think about.
Now on to our final player test. Player 1 averages 24 points, 5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and shoots 43% for his career. Player 2 also gets 24 points, also gets 5 rebounds, gets 6 assists for his career, and shoots 45%. And this is through 10 seasons.
I got to go with player 2 again. Slightly better numbers, slightly better from the field, too.
Okay, well, player 2 is James Harden.
Okay, not surprised.
Player 1 is Kobe Bryant.
Wow. Well, I mean, James Harden is on a tear right now, so... I actually have a crazy stat about James Harden here real quick. I saw it today, and I thought, you know what? If I get the opportunity to say that on the show today, I'm going to say it. So give me 1 second here.
While you're doing that,
So,
knowing who these players are,
I got it pulled up right here.
Okay.
So all time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wilt Chamberlain has the highest scoring seasons as far as points per game goes. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 6. Michael Jordan has number 5. As of right now, James Harden has number 7, getting 36.3 points per game for the season.
Wow.
Yeah, that's 7th highest all-time in NBA history.
That's insane.
That is insane.
So, knowing who the players are now, would you still take James Harden over Kobe Bryant?
That's... When you look at the numbers, man, I'm a big field goal percentage guy. So, I don't know though. That's really tough. I think I'm probably just gonna have to go with Kobe Bryant. I went with Anthony Davis, or I went with Larry Bird over Anthony Davis. Maybe this is something that we can revisit, in another 6-7 years and discuss it then. But I think as of right now, Kobe's obviously got a better body of work. So I think I'm gonna go with Kobe over James Harden.
And I think everybody agree with you, Kobe. Where the numbers aren't good at Harden's at that point in his career, it's Kobe Bryant, and he's just absolute assassin.
Yeah.
He's a killer. And so now we're going to a player who's not so much a killer anymore, Kyrie Irving. He had a really interesting week. First, he lost his marbles in the final seconds of a loss to the Magic. Then he comes out and calls out all of his players and said that they need to be some more leadership. They don't know what they're doing in the postseason. And this week, he called LeBron to apologize for being a pain in the ass and gets his advice going forward as a leader. So Kyrie Irving, this from his perspective, he was the man of Cleveland before LeBron came. He would have been the man at Duke had he not got hurt. And he was probably the man on a high school team, AAU team, anything in his life, probably the man on.
Yep.
Then he goes to the Celtics with other good players and expectations, and he doesn't like being the leader so much. So, first of all, Fletcher, do you think Kyrie can be the leader this team needs?
Well, I think he's kind of figuring out right now, like, hey, this whole being a leader thing and, making my own team and leading my own team deep in the playoffs for a run like that, that's not as easy as he thought it was. And, Boston was doing plenty fine without him. They're not doing as well with him. So, him saying that, maybe some of those guys are looking in the locker room at each other like, I don't know if you're aware of this, but we don't necessarily need you. We've done a lot without you. Terry Rozier has proven that he's more than serviceable at starting point guard in the regular season and playoffs. So, I don't know if Kyrie is really built or ready to be a leader like he thought he was wanting to be.
So, that was probably leadership a little bit. Called out his players because they don't know what pushing success is like yet. Remember last year, they came within one game and one of the greatest playoff performances by a player in history from being in the NBA Finals without Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward.
That's the thing. It was one game away from being in the NBA Finals without Kyrie Irving, but he's got the audacity to sit up there and say, calling out his players for their postseason success or their mental, toughness or whatever. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and there is no doubting that Kyrie had good pushing success. What he did in that final against the Warriors, played on par with LeBron James, 40-point games, 3 games in a row. They would not win that series without him. But do you think, if you're Kyrie's teammate, how do you feel about these comments?
Oh, I definitely don't feel good. What I just said to you earlier is pretty much how I would feel if Kyrie it was my teammate. I would be like, what are you doing that we didn't do last year? You know what I mean? Like, we were literally one game away from the finals without you. If we didn't run into LeBron James, we could have been in the NBA Finals. So, I don't know. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, those guys stepped up huge, showed, that they were ready for the moment, that it wasn't too big for them. The comments would not sit well with me.
And secondly, what do you think of this coming kind of full circle, him calling LeBron to apologize that he didn't know what the hell he was doing when he was 23, but now that he's 26, he realizes it?
Well, I don't want to be Mr. Hot Take over here, but it could be a way, or it could lead to a sense that maybe Kyrie is open to rejoining LeBron in LA. Maybe he's open to the idea of going to play with him again. Maybe he thinks that it's not so easy to lead a team. Maybe it's not so easy to close games out or be kind of a closer kind of guy without LeBron next to him. So it could open the way up to that. It could just be him, showing appreciation and gratitude and also remorse for kind of how he handled the situation in Cleveland, thinking he was ready for the moment that he's obviously not ready for at all.
Yeah. So LeBron would probably be open to Kyrie coming to LA because LeBron definitely needs help looking at what he has. Right now, Alonzo Ball not developing at all, injury prone. Van Ingram sucks. But do you think you actually see Kyrie Irving being a Laker?
That's hard to envision in my mind. I think even if he didn't stay with Boston, he'd probably stay with like the Nets or the Knicks or something like that next year. It's hard to imagine him in purple and gold too, but you never know, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not up to date on Kyrie's contract at all. Do you know how long he signed for? Or would he have to be traded?
So I think this is the last year of his deal. So he's an unrestricted free agent, which is why you kind of heard people mention trading Kyrie for Anthony Davis and then just started Terry Rozier. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I guess he could sign there next season.
Yep.
And now we'll go on to the best team right now. In the Eastern Conference, things are kind of staying pat. The top 5 teams have definitely made their pace. However, Oladipo just went down for the Pacers. I'm going to stick with the Raptors being the best team in the conference. I just feel like the Bucks are playing great. I feel like the Raptors are just a more complete team than the Bucks.
I'm going to go with the Bucks again, only because the Raptors are coming off a loss to the Victor Oladipo-less Pacers. So the Bucks have a really talented team. I've beat that drum all year. I'm going to stick with the Bucks as of right now.
And I'm going with Western Conference. The Warriors are the best team. Now they got Boogie back. It's the Warriors. Best team in the conference, best team in the NBA.
Yep, I agree with that. I give them a slight edge right now as far as the best team in the NBA too. But I think they, with LeBron being out and then a lot of other teams in the West being shaky, they're definitely the best team in the West, and I'm going to give them the slight edge as the best team in the NBA too.
Yeah, and now we're going to Game of the Week. My Game of the Week is tomorrow night. Raptors at Houston Rockets. Basically because that's a really good team, and James Harden is playing the best basketball of any regular season player maybe ever.
Yep.
So you gotta watch it.
I think I'm looking all the way till next Tuesday. 76ers are coming to LA to play the Lakers. They're eyeing that for LeBron's return game. So I hope he comes back then. I hope he's able to right the ship there in LA. But I want to see him against the 76ers.
All right. And this has been Volume 33 of Hysteria. As always, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the Saucy Pod. Listen to all our stuff on iTunes and Spotify. From Leighton, from Fletcher, as always, Dippers, stay saucy.